Hi guys, the last lesson in the area and perimeter topic is on the area and perimeter of compound shapes. So there was one or two examples on this in the very last exercise in area of circles that you did. But basically a compound shape is just two or more shapes that are stuck together. If you look at this example 1, you can see that we've got a rectangle, which is here, and we have a quarter circle, which is here. Obviously, there is no formula for the area of a rectangle quarter circle hybrid shape. So all you do is you find the individual areas and then add them together. So we'll call this area 1 and area 2. Area 1 is just a rectangle, so it's just length times breadth. And the length of the rectangle is 12 from here to here, and the breadth of the rectangle is 5. So 12 times 5, which you can do without a calculator, and the area of part 1 is 60 square centimetres. Now we can have a wee look at part 2, which is the area of the quarter circle. So to find the area of a quarter circle, we work out pi r squared, so pi times the radius squared, and then divide our answer by 4. Because pi times the radius squared would give us the area of a full circle with this radius, but we only have a quarter or a fourth of that circle. So pi, as always, is 3.14 when we're doing these questions. And we need to think about what the radius of this quarter circle is. So imagine this is the centre of the circle, and this up at the top is the outer part of the circle, so a bit on the circumference of the circle. This length here is the same as this length over here, which means that we're doing pi, or 3.14, times 5 squared. So if you put that in your calculator, it comes out to be 78.5. But 78.5 square centimetres would be the area of a full circle, and we only have a quarter of it. So we're going to divide the answer by 4. So area 2 is 19.625 square centimetres, which is a little bit messy looking, so when we find the total area, we'll maybe round it to 1 or 2 decimal places. The total area of this compound shape is just our A1, the area of the rectangle, plus A2, the area of the quarter circle. So add them together. And you get 79.625 square centimetres. I'm just going to round that to 79.6. If the question doesn't ask or doesn't tell you what to round it to, then just pick 1 or 2 decimal places, maybe nothing longer than that, because then it looks a wee bit messy, and that's your answer. The second example says a new window of a church is shaped in a rectangle with a semicircle at the top as shown in the image below. So we've got the rectangle part down here, and then we've got the semicircle here. A metal frame is to go round the edge of the shape. Calculate the length of metal bar required. So we've got some hints here. The question doesn't come out and say find the perimeter, but words here that give us a little hint that we're dealing with the perimeter are round the edge and length. There's nothing at all to do with area here. And if it says to go round the edge, we know that the distance round the edge of a shape is its perimeter. So we're going to find the perimeter of this bottom bit and the perimeter of the semicircle. So first of all, we'll look at the perimeter of the rectangle. So I'll just call that P1. Normally we would add 4 numbers together because a rectangle has 4 sides, but we only have 1, 2, 3 of those sides on the outside. This fourth side isn't part of the outside of the frame, so we exclude that and only add the 3 sides together. The first side down here is 80 centimetres, and this one here is 1.3 metres, so we've got conflicting units here. We need to pick one and stick to it. So I'm going to turn 1.3 metres into 130 centimetres and add the numbers together. So 130 plus 80 plus 130. And the perimeter of the 3 sides of the rectangle that we have comes out to be 340 centimetres. Now we need to look at the perimeter of the semicircle, and we'll call that P2. So the formula that we've been using is circumference of a semicircle, or circumference of just any type of circle, is pi times the diameter. So that's 3.14 times the diameter, and we need to go back to the diagram to find what the diameter is. So the diameter of the semicircle goes from here to here, which is the same length as this down at the bottom. So it's 3.14 times 80. And you can do that without a calculator because 80 can just be broken up into 8 times 10. So we can do 3.14 times 8 and then times the answer by 10. I'm just going to do that over here. 4 8s are 32. 1 times 8 is 8 plus 3 is 11. 3 8s are 24 plus 1 is 25. And then we're doing 25.12 times 10. So the circumference is 251.2, but we have to divide that by 2 because we only have a semicircle and not a full circle. So 251.2 divided by 2, again you can do that without a calculator, just do it in a bus stop sum and you get C equals 125.6 centimetres. What I'm going to do now is rub some of this working out just so that I have enough room to write my answer. So I'm going to rub this little bit of working out down at the side. Don't do this in your jotter, just obviously move on to a new line. And I'm going to talk about the total length. So I'll just write TP for the total perimeter will be 340 plus 125.6. So again, you'll do this without a calculator. 465.6 and the answer is in centimetres. If you decided to convert the 80 centimetres into 0.8 metres and then had to proceed with a calculator, that's fine, but you would just end up with 4.656 metres instead of 465.6 centimetres. Part B of this question says it costs £3.99 for every 40 centimetres of metal for the bars. How much will it cost to make the entire bar? So, in the part A of the question, we worked out that the total perimeter of that shape, this compound shape with a rectangle and a circle, is 465.6 centimetres. And every 40 centimetres of that costs £3.99. So we have to think how many lots of 40 centimetres does it take to make up 465.6 centimetres. So I'd probably do this in my head and I would say, well, 10 lots of 40 centimetres would give us 400 centimetres. So I'll just write this down quickly. So 11 lots would be 440, so we're getting there. 12 lots would be 480. So we'd have a little bit left over, but we need to buy that 12th lot of 40 centimetres, because if we only bought 11, we'd be about 25 centimetres short, because 11 bars would only give us 440 centimetres. So we need to get 12 lots of £3.99, or we have to pay 12 lots of £3.99. Again, you could do this without a calculator, because I would be saying, well, 12 times £3.99 is just the same as 12 times £4. And then once you get your answer, take away 12 pence. So I would say, well, 12 times 4 is £48. And then take away 12 pence from that, because the difference between £3.99 and £4 is 1 pence. So the difference between 12 times £3.99 and 12 times 4 is just 12 pence. And that gives you a cost of £47 and 88 pence. And that part B of the question is what distinguishes a question like this from a National 4 question and a National 5 apps question. That part B that gives it a real life context and something that you have to apply your answer to, rather than just finding the area or the perimeter of a shape. For the last example, it says the Smiths are building a new kitchen, the floor plans are shown below, and it says packs of floor tiles are sold as £9.50 for every 2 metres squared. Calculate the cost to tile the entire floor. So again, the question doesn't tell us whether we're doing area or perimeter. Explicitly, it doesn't say find the area of the floor or find the perimeter of the floor. But the fact that we're talking about buying things in terms of 2 square metres at a time tells us that it's an area question. So again, we're going to split the areas into area 1 and area 2. So say the rectangle is area 1 and this right angled triangle is area 2. And we're going to have to do a wee bit more work just to find the dimensions of these shapes. So area 1 is just length times breadth. And this one's actually quite easy. We can see that the length is 6.5 metres and the breadth is 3.5 metres. So times them together. You'd be using a calculator for this one because we're multiplying 2 decimals together. And the answer comes out to be 22.75. Remember, it's in square metres. Then if I go down to the bottom and we work out area 2, because it's a triangle, we know we're using the formula a half times the base times the height. But we need to think about what are the base and the height of the triangle. So a half times the base, so the base is this little bit here. And if we know that from here all the way along to the end, so the length of the rectangle and the base of the triangle together is 8 metres, but we know that this bit up here is 6.5, we can work out what's left for this bit, which is the same as the base of the triangle. So to work that out, you're just finding the difference between 8 metres and 6.5 metres. So that turns out to be 1.5 metres. And then the height of the triangle is just the same as the breadth of the rectangle, which is 3.5. So multiply that together in your calculator. And you get an answer of 2.625 square metres. Now we can find the total area of the shape by adding area 1 and area 2 together. So I'm just writing TA for total area. So add the 22.75 plus 2.625 together. You'll probably be able to see that this diagram is not done to scale, and that's absolutely fine. You get 25.375 square metres. And now we can actually answer the question, calculate the cost to tile the entire floor. So if we're having to buy this flooring in packs that are 2 square metres, we're going to have to buy 13 packs because 12 packs would give us 24 square metres and 13 packs, would give us 26 square metres. What we have is in the middle of that, but we can't be in a situation where we don't have enough. We'd rather have too much and then have a little bit left over than not have enough and have a bit of the floor that isn't tiled. So the cost is going to be 13, which is the number of packs that we're going to have to buy, times £9.50, which is, if you go back to the question, the cost per 2 metres squared. So £9.50 times 13. In your calculator, it will come out at 123.5, but because we're dealing with money, always put a second decimal place on there, even if it's a 0. So the cost to tile the floor is £123.50. And again, what's going to distinguish a question like this from a National 4 question and make it a Nat 5 Apps question is this part B. So it says, a building company offers to do the job, including the price of materials, for £200, and the Smiths pay this using the following payment plan. So they pay 10% as a deposit, 10 instalments of £12.90, and then one final payment. And we're being asked how much the final payment would be. What's good about this question is that you don't have to have got part A right to access this question, because it doesn't have anything to do with the area. This company are offering to do it for £200. So the area is kind of irrelevant now for this part B. So even if you'd got part A wrong, or didn't know how to do part A, you could still get full marks for part B because this is a finance and stats question. So the cost is £200. So we'll make a note of that. So cost equals £200. It says that 10% of that is put down as a deposit. So the deposit is 10% of £200, which we know is just 200 divided by 10, so they pay a £20 deposit. They pay 10 instalments of £12.90, so the instalments are just 10 times £12.90. So all you have to do here is move that decimal point here and you get £129. And then there's a final payment that we're being asked to find. So if in total they have to pay £200, and we know that £20 of that is paid as a deposit, and £129 of that is paid as monthly instalments, we can work out by adding 129 and that £20 together how much they've paid so far, and therefore if we take it away from 200, how much they have left to pay. So if we do that, it tells us that their final payment is £51. So £20 is a deposit, £129 as their weekly or monthly instalments, and the difference between those numbers added together in 200 is £51.